Hello, everyone. This is Casey here, and this is, I guess, podcast zero. I don't really have a name, a purpose, a motto, a tagline, a hashtag yet. But what I do have is a lot of passion and interest into making a podcast. So I've probably been thinking about it for the past year or two. I've recently got into podcasts probably over the last 3 or 4 years, and I really enjoy listening to them. When I'm on transit, when I'm going for a bike ride, working, sometimes just sitting at home listening to the podcasts. And what I really like about them is you get to hear conversations that you won't usually have access to. For example, conversations of high-level executives or very successful entrepreneurs or people that are, in the space of telling stories. So I think that there's a lot of value in being able to self-express and to share with other people things that you have interest in. So to start off, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Casey. I am 25 years old, and I have always had a little bit of interest in this whole online world. At a young age, I think I was 14 or maybe 15, I started a YouTube channel, and my channel was all about sharing music. On my Nintendo DS, one of my friends, he had this Japanese game called Daigasso Band Brothers, and basically in this game you play Japanese music with the buttons. So like up on the D-pad would be like a C note, right on the D-pad would be a B, and so on. So he introduced me to this game. I had no idea how to read Japanese or even what the game was, like what the purpose of the game was, but I did know that I had an interest in music, and I loved playing video games. I'd be up late at night during these times in my early teen years playing video games all the time. But what I really loved about Daigasso Band Brothers was the idea of creation and composing music. Not only do you play music from, Mario, Zelda, some Japanese pop songs, J-pop that I didn't really know much of, I was able to create music with different instruments and start composing and sharing that music and having other people connect through, forget what it was called, DS Link or Bluetooth, whatever connection Nintendo DS's were connected throughout the time, and have them play the drum part or the guitar part. And at this time, I knew how to play cello, I knew how to play piano, as I had lessons at a young age, but I never really had any experience in music composition. And this really started off my interest into learning music through listening rather than reading from sheet music. And what I mean is, I think one of the first songs that I did by ear was a song from Mario Kart DS, DK Pass. It was da 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 is how it started with the fiddle, and I just really liked the sound of that song. So I tried to make it on the DS, and I uploaded it. It got a few hundred views, and that's really when I became comfortable with going online. This was probably 2006. I was 12 years old, and that was half my life ago. So fast forward to 2020. My YouTube channel is still on there. Since then, I graduated away from just playing videos of me and my Nintendo DS into videos of me actually playing music in front of camera, mostly writing or mainly making arrangements of songs that already exist, and adding all different instruments. And I think my most popular video was shortly after the Hunger Games came out. There was a song called Safe and Sound by Taylor Swift, and I made my own rendition on my dad's guitar, recorded it with a little Canon PowerShot, and uploaded it. And shockingly, within the first few months of that video being uploaded, it gained some traction, over 50,000 views, 100,000 views, and it just kept on going up with people saying, "Hey, Casey," well, at the time my username was Gluvin, said, "Gluvin, can you teach me how to play this?" And I'd respond saying, "Sorry, I don't I don't have tabs, I don't have sheet music, I did it all by ear. And, fast forward to where we are today is all this is still on the internet, and it shows a little bit of my interest into sharing with the world my creative abilities. But what I want to make this podcast about is really a way for me to share some of my interests now as a young adult. And though I still believe music is a big part of my life, what I want to be sharing with you and whoever you might be is a little bit about some of my views of the world, ways that I see myself progressing, and I think most importantly is giving you some sort of education or some sort of insights into how you can take an idea, and the idea in my case right now is making a podcast and turning it into action. So I think the beginning of this podcast, and I'll put a disclaimer on right now, is I'm recording this out of my my phone. I have a OnePlus. The quality's not going to be very good, but I figure why not just start right now, start recording right now, and evolve with my progress. And what I mean by evolve with my progress is actually go step by step with you in how to make your podcast, really just from the idea. So my idea of a podcast is to be able to share some interesting conversations with you. And my idea is really to inspire people to be the best that they can be. Inspire people to take control of their lives, make their dreams come true. And this motivational podcast is all about sharing vulnerability, being authentic, being able to communicate with the audience or the listeners in a very, very genuine way. And I think there's a lot of podcasts out there that are very, very popular, but they come from professionals that were trained in how to make podcasts. They either went to broadcasting school, or they've done acting, or they're already very successful in their own domains. But honestly, I'm just an average guy sitting here in my living room with my laptop. And I just want to show you, the audience, that if you have a passion for something, if you really believe in, making some changes and actions in your life, it starts with today. And what this podcast is going to be is a bit of an evolution of how I'm taking this idea that I've had for the past 2 years to actually being courageous into sharing my views, sharing my passion with the world. And I don't expect this to be like a podcast with 1 million listeners right off the bat. I'm actually going to be uploading this with the expectation that it's going to grow with time. I really believe in patience. And, with that, this podcast is really going to be one of my creative projects. I'm going to try to keep it to around 15 minutes. Yep, I'm just putting that into stone now. 15 minutes is the length of the podcast. So you can listen to it for a little bit of motivation on your commute to work. Maybe your morning routine when you're getting ready, showering, whatnot. You can play this podcast. And I think I'm going to commit to probably twice a week on, I'd say, a Monday and a Thursday, something like that. So 15 minutes, twice per week, half an hour. All I'm doing is turning on the microphone and clicking record and sharing things that I think are interesting. So with that, I'm not going to go into too much detail right now, other than having to make a decision. Are you a planner, or are you more spontaneous, where you're just going to go right into it? And I think I'm learning just from speaking right now is this whole segment, this 10-minute segment so far has all just been intuition. And I didn't really come in with a plan. And some people are able to do that. Some people require a little bit more planning. And I'm going to quickly learn, maybe this wasn't an interesting conversation at all, and you've already stopped, or you're going to stop. Or I'm going to allow myself to learn and make mistakes throughout this process. but I'm going to have a little bit of a mix. I'm going to be spending some of the time planning during the podcast and some of the time planning outside of the podcast to make things interesting for you. But some things that I have on my plan, I just downloaded this project management tool online called Asana, is I'm just going to build out a little bit of a plan. And my first milestone is to upload my first podcast. And how the heck do I upload a podcast? There's so many different platforms out there. So some things that I have on my list are go on YouTube, go on Reddit, go online and figure out how to upload a podcast. So over the next few episodes, I'm actually going to walk you through what I did to get started. I had a lot of questions asking myself, like, what does the sound quality require? Right now I'm using my phone. I don't have anything on it. I'm in a big room right now, so there's a bit of an echo, but hopefully by episode 3, episode 4, I would have changed my setup a little bit. So part of that is getting some hardware. I have a work computer that has some limitations on it, so I cannot download any third-party software, so I'm going to use my sister's computer that's been laying around probably since, I don't know, a year ago. She hasn't been using it, but I'm cheap. I don't want to have to spend money on things that I don't absolutely need. So I'm going to grab that computer, pick up my old microphone that I had from years ago when I used to record music, and the next episode is going to be a little bit better quality, but I couldn't resist. I just wanted to start now. So I think with this being said, planning is important, just so you have a little bit of an agenda for yourself to follow. So my plan, like I said, is I'm going to be uploading podcasts twice a week. They're going to be about 12 to 15 minutes. And the idea is to motivate and inspire you to be the best that you can be. And also for me to just have a little bit of a creative outlet for myself. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go on with the rest of your day. I'm trying to think of a really creative motto right now. Be the best that you can be. No. You grow with every breath. So don't forget that special moment that you're having right now, because the present is very, very, very important. Oh, one more thing to note is right now, March 14th, we're in the thick of the coronavirus right now. And I want to be here as support for all of you that are struggling with making plans. So feel free to send me a message. I don't really know how you could send messages to me just yet, but I'd like to hear what you're interested in throughout this process as well. And the coronavirus, it's widespread. It's hitting so many people's lives. And luckily here in Vancouver, BC, we haven't been yet hit with a crisis and emergency, state of emergency yet. But I am noticing that a lot of my friends and family right now are becoming very scared and resistant. As of now, many things have closed, a lot of concerts, social gatherings. Any social gathering more than 250 people is now restricted by the provincial government, and I just got notice yesterday that I cannot go into work anymore, so I have to work from home. So there's a lot of things going on, and I think this is a good opportunity for me to spend some time actually working on this passion project of mine. So thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the rest of this time that I'm going to share with you. And just remember, you grow with every breath.